It was supposed to be a normal Monday morning, the kind of day where everything follows routine, fresh coffee, brief morning meetings, and business as usual. But this Monday, something was wrong, very wrong. At Veltrix Systems, a $7 billion tech empire in the heart of New York City, the CEO, Jonathan Blake, stepped into his top-floor office as the sun rose over the skyline. His desk, polished to perfection, his triple-screen setup glowing softly, but not responding. He frowned, no signal. He called IT, no response. Then his personal assistant rushed in, pale and panicked. "Sir, the mainframe is down, and the entire database has been breached." Blake's heart skipped a beat. This wasn't a glitch. The building went into emergency lockdown. Red alert systems blared through hidden speakers. All top executives were summoned to the conference room, but not a single one had answers. "Our firewall's gone. We've lost control of our cloud infrastructure." The breach came from inside the network. Every second, they were hemorrhaging data, years of research, intellectual property, private client information, possibly being sold, copied, or deleted. This wasn't just a hack, it was a full-blown cyberattack. Meanwhile, deep in the same building, on the lowest maintenance floor, Mr. Reyes, the night janitor, had just finished mopping the hallway outside the executive offices. He wasn't panicking. He'd seen a lot in his 20 years cleaning corporate buildings. And besides, he had someone special with him today, his 17-year-old daughter, Lena. It was summer break. Lena didn't have school, and since she was obsessed with coding and always glued to her laptop, Mr. Reyes let her tag along on his early morning shift, as long as she stayed quiet. Lena sat cross-legged on a bench in the hallway, hoodie up, earbuds in, laptop balanced on her knees. But she wasn't on social media. She was deep inside a virtual machine, testing out her custom-built antivirus tool, a little side project she'd been working on for months. She had a habit of nerding out on cybersecurity forums, especially the ones where ethical hackers shared stories of real-world breaches. Then she noticed something strange. Her laptop, isolated from Veltrix's system, started receiving odd packets, ping requests, repeated access attempts from a nearby IP address. "Weird," she whispered, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She began tracing the signal. It was encrypted, hidden behind layers of obfuscation, but there was a pattern. Familiar, almost like something she'd read about in a Russian hacker thread last week. She removed her earbuds, looked around. Through the glass wall nearby, she saw executives yelling, phones ringing off the hook, and Jonathan Blake himself, sweating, eyes wide, jaw clenched. "That's the CEO of Veltrix," she muttered. "They're under attack." She opened her terminal, launched her tool, and started reverse engineering the packet structure. 5 minutes later, she knew. "They've been hit by a polymorphic exploit," she whispered. "It's hiding inside their outdated API and evolving in real time. That's why they can't stop it." It was a terrifyingly clever attack, but Lena had already written a defense tool for something similar, a prototype, nothing official. It wasn't perfect, but it was her best shot. She stood up, walked to her father, and gently tapped his shoulder. "Papa, I think I know what's going on." He looked at her, confused. "Mija, what do you mean?" "I think I can help them, for real." He blinked. "That's the CEO in there. That's a billion-dollar company, Lena." "I know, but nobody's stopping this attack, and I think I can." She walked toward the conference room. Security tried to stop her, but Mr. Reyes caught up. "Let her speak," he said firmly. "Just 5 minutes." Inside the chaos, the CEO turned around. Everyone stopped talking as the janitor and his daughter stepped forward. "Sir," Lena said quietly, "I think I know how to stop the breach." The room went silent. Blake looked at her like she was from another planet. "Who are you?" "My name's Lena Reyes," she said. "I'm just the janitor's daughter, but I've seen this kind of attack before, and if I'm right, your system still has a chance." The room was dead silent. Executives exchanged puzzled glances. A teenager, in a hoodie, claiming to understand a cyber attack their entire IT department couldn't even detect. Jonathan Blake, the CEO, didn't know whether to laugh or panic harder. He looked at the exhausted engineers around him. All of them had hit a wall. "You have 5 minutes," he said flatly. "Show me what you know." Lena didn't flinch. She stepped forward, opened her laptop and connected it to a nearby monitor. A live console appeared, lines of code scrolling rapidly. "Your system is infected by a polymorphic exploit. It's hiding in the legacy API that your backend still uses for internal diagnostics. It morphs every few minutes, so your antiviruses think it's a different file each time." Blake raised an eyebrow. "How do you know that?" "Because I caught it pinging my laptop by mistake. I built a sandbox to study anomalies like this. I reverse-engineered the payload signature. It's mimicking an old patch from your 2018 update, probably overlooked when you migrated to the new framework." The engineers huddled behind her, watching as she broke down the entire chain of attack in real time. One of them whispered, "She's right." Another nodded. "This is legit. I didn't even think to check the legacy interface." Lena wasn't done. "It's smart. It disables telemetry before launching so your logs don't catch it. But its weakness is that it still needs to call back to the command server to mutate. If we block that connection, it dies." Jonathan Blake was now fully focused. "So how do we kill it?" "You don't." "I do," Lena replied. "I built a self-adaptive countermeasure. It runs like a ghost process and syncs with the exploit's mutation rhythm. It'll overwrite its behavior before it updates itself again." Blake hesitated. "You're telling me you've already built a tool to stop this exact type of attack?" "Yes, I made it for fun, but it works." There was a long pause. Then Blake stepped back. "Run it." Lena inserted a USB key, launched the tool, and executed the script. A timer appeared on screen, tracking exploit behavior, neutralizing. 30 seconds passed, then 60. Then command server connection terminated. The room gasped. Blake's phone lit up with system alerts, but this time the alerts were different. The lights dimmed, then came back brighter. The network rebooted. The servers purged themselves clean. And just like that, the crisis was over. People erupted in applause. The IT director shook his head in disbelief. An executive wiped away tears. Several tech leads rushed over to Lena, begging her to explain her tool in detail. Blake stood silent, watching the crowd around her. Then he walked over. "Miss Reyes, you didn't just save my company. You may have just saved our entire industry." Lena smiled nervously. "Thanks, I just really love solving puzzles." "You're hired," he said, without hesitation. "Starting now, name your salary." She shook her head. "I'm not ready for that yet. I'm still finishing high school." Blake laughed. "Then I'll fund your college education, full ride, anywhere in the country, and when you're ready, your desk will be waiting." Lena looked at her dad. Mr. Reyes was wiping his eyes with his sleeve, speechless with pride. "A deal," she said softly. Months later, Lena Reyes became a national sensation. Her story went viral. Janitor's daughter outsmarts cyberattack experts. She gave a TED Talk. Harvard reached out with a scholarship. A tech magazine called her the girl who stopped the impossible. But through it all, Lena stayed grounded. She still walked with her dad to his shifts sometimes, just to remember where it all began. One day a reporter asked her, "What made you think you could solve something even top engineers couldn't?" Lena shrugged. "I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just saw something that didn't feel right, and I decided to look deeper." And that was the truth. No titles, no ego, just curiosity, courage, and a deep love for technology. And that's how a 17-year-old girl, with no degree, no job title, and no credentials, saved a billion-dollar company from total collapse. Not by luck, not by chance, but by being the one person who decided to look closer. When everyone else gave up,